Porto, but no. That's the technical terms.
That's what they say. I don't remember how to say clap in Spanish, so we're going to clap in 3, 2, 1.
And in 1, 2, 3.
Cool. We made it. Hello, Nick. How are you?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Good. I didn't really think. Normally, I try to secretly give like 2 seconds of thought of what I want to ramble about, and I have done no pre-ramble. Do you have any pre-rambles?
Well, I can totally ramble.
You're getting a dog. Is that going to be a pre-ramble?
I'm getting a dog. It was kind of related, but not really. I'm getting a dog.
I'm not
really
getting a dog. But Nick,
we get the dog on Wednesday, Jeff. In 4 days, I get a puppy. Tell me.
Can I tell you a secret?
Tell me. Yes.
So you're getting a dog. You send us pictures about dog. Dog very cute.
Thank you.
Katie's sister has dog. Dog very cute. These
Crazy.
both dogs, hypoallergenic dogs. It gets really tempting to get dog. It gets really tempting to get dog because guess what, Nick? Little kids, you know what they like? Dogs.
They like dog.
They like dog. They like little dog, especially much, and it's very cute. Oh man! So
I would. Our first dog was that I got as a kid. Well, that's not true. So when I was like very, very young, we had 2 dogs, and they both ran away. And
wow,
the third dog,
what an energy to start the podcast!
I know.
What an energy!
No. Hear me out. Hear me out. Okay?
End it good. Because we're starting the intro, which starts the podcast.
The next dog that we got. My mom didn't tell my dad because my dad had been resistant to it because he's like, I'm not around a lot. I can't take care of him, or the kid's going to take care of him. The kids are little and stuff. Right. And so my mom just secretly arranged for us to get this dog. And the whole time, she hadn't told, I know language. And the whole time, she hadn't told anyone. And then and then on the day we went to go pick up the dog, my sister just called my dad and just pleaded with him and cried on the phone until he said, yeah. It's just the most classic thing. It's the most 90s sounded like a 90s freaking sitcom or out of Three's, or not Three, what is it, a Full House or whatever. How did you convince your dad? Well, Stephanie just cried on the phone. That's
we did it. We found an intro. All right, let's get going.
Okay, good.
Hello and welcome to the Year We Started a Podcast. It's a podcast born Phoenix-like from the ashes of the last couple of years worth of podcasts. I am your co-host, Jeff.
I am their other co-host, Nick.
And we're a couple of friends, half gotten apart, blah, 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 that would like to come together and talk about some of the things that are fun and interesting to us. We have a thing. We both know what it is, which is not normally how it works. But before that, Nick, what you got?
Okay, so I just want to, this is not a long or serious or research topic, but I just wanted to share it with you, my good friend, Jeff. So this week, do you know where I was the last couple of days? Did I tell you this?
I feel bad now. Did you tell me this?
No, I don't know.
We've definitely texted since the last few days.
Don't worry about it. Jen and I took 2 days off to go get our dog, and we went and got, we went up to San Luis Obispo in the Central Coast. And I've never really visited. I've driven through, but I've never really visited. And dude, San Luis Obispo, friggin' hidden gem. I mean, it's not super hidden or anything, but I feel like it's an underappreciated and talked about vacation spot. Much more small town feel. And here, I'm gonna send you photos. That's what this is gonna be. I know this is
Can you say it again? Because can I just my perspective, what you called this was San Obispo. I say Bilabismo. What is say Bilabismo?
It's San Luis Obispo. Obispo is Obispo, which I know is easily.
The internet knew immediately what I was trying to do.
Yes.
So
yes.
Thank you.
But it's also, it's with how many times do you have ISPO? It's not too often, at least. I don't know.
Or OBI, for that matter.
True. Also true. Here, I'm going to send you photos, Jeffrey.
Okay, Nick.
So we did dinner out on the freaking bay. We hiked. We rode bikes. I did 2 bike rides on the same day. My legs are very tired. We mostly spent that time outdoors at a state park there called Montaña de Oro. which is just south of San Luis Obispo and Morro Bay, or I don't know if it's south of San Luis Obispo. My geography is terrible, but it's south of Morro Bay and it's south of Los Osos is the small town that's like right bordering it. And it's freaking beautiful, dude. It's on the water, so you're like,
Okay.
you can just get a walk on the beach. This is. Did I just send you this? No, I didn't, Jeff.
Yeah, I was kind of curious about that because you're talking like you're
Jeff.
gonna send it to me, and
Hey,
then
Jeff.
I don't have anything. And now there's something.
Click on this. This is good.
I clicked it.
There's a really big, awesome, like dramatic
Whoa.
sinkhole. Yeah, it's just like a really large sinkhole right on the, or a collapsed Steve cave. I don't know. Everyone called it a sinkhole, so I'm calling it a sinkhole.
Sure.
Right
I don't
on.
know any better to say anything different. So.
Yeah. And here, Jeff, I'm just gonna send you random photos of the views. I'm sorry about the bad audio.
I think that is fine. Also, I was waiting on you to send this. I was Googling it. And it appears that there's just like rando mountains just there and here and there, hither and yon.
Yeah, dude. So the mountain bike
What
trails.
the heck? Like, is this a normal thing in California?
Yeah,
Like,
kind of.
do you just have random mountains just because there's sometimes that's how it is?
Kind of just the whole coast is mountains. Yeah, kind of. Honestly.
But it looks like normal coast, what I would describe, and then it's just like here's a mountain because like we clicked one on the button, like the terrain generator.
Well, as you do.
I don't know, like when you're in Colorado and you get to the mountains, all is mountain. Like there's the mountain range and everything is mountain. And like when I'm looking at some of these pictures, it's like here's just normal ground and then mountain for the entire stretch of this, and then it's back to normal. But then like other random mountain after that.
Yes.
They feel like very in the middle of things in a way that it doesn't feel the same way that I'm used to in Colorado.
I know what you mean. I think it's that it's kind of on the Ring of Fire, like the whole, massive amounts of earthquake thing is like contributes to this, and that I think it makes the coastline also very mountainous, and I think that's what's like a little bit off is like it's a bunch of, and there's also a lot of small I don't even know like what if there's a classification between a hill and a mountain like in terms of size, but like for example the cliffs bordering Laguna Beach get up to like almost exactly 1,000 feet of elevation, so like in half a mile of distance you've got 1,000 feet of elevation gain, and that's just like but that's about the peak of the area. So it's like there's a lot of little hilly, slightly mountainous areas. Like I don't know if that is a mountain or not, but I don't really think of them as mountains. But it's like I go mountain biking there and hiking.
From a Kansan's perspective, those are freaking mountains, dude.
Right.
I'm sure there's a technical definition, but for us, if those existed, that would be called. I mean, have you ever seen Mount Sunflower, Nick?
No, I have not. What's Mount Sunflower? We're gonna look it up.
Don't look it up. I want to type it. I want to find the picture to show you.
I'm sorry.
So Mount Sunflower is Kansas's highest mountain, or at least the highest point in Kansas.
You love to hear it.
And I'm gonna show you. I want to find the right picture to give you like a real good sense of scale.
Okay.
I feel like this one's pretty good. So like. You're familiar with like what it's like to kind of be at the top of a hill or mountain or whatever.
Once or twice.
This is the highest point in Kansas, so I just wanted to give this out to you for perspective of what it's like. This is Mount Sunflower.
You sent me a photo of a flat plane.
Nick, it's not flat. There's like a 2 foot per mile grade up to this point in Kansas.
That's really cool and awesome and hilarious, and also it's mostly just hilarious to me. That's really funny to me. Not because I'm trying to be like a jerk, just because like it's like a 2 foot per grade. Like that's fantastic.
I that might even be exaggerated.
I love the idea.
Here's another picture. Like it is not any. This is definitely a thing that we just made because it happens to be the highest actual point.
I think the cool thing is, right, it's going to have it'd still be very, very difficult to scale all of Mount Sunflower from the base to the peak. From
the base to the peak,
walk across
like
the
900 miles away.
Exactly, Jeff. Exactly. Dude, it'd be tough. It'd be really tough. Oh my gosh.
Anyways,
I also just really quick, I want to tell you that most geologists classify a mountain as a landform that rises at least 1,000 feet. So like like Laguna Beach has a mountain in the most like it's just barely scraping into a mountain. You know what I'm saying? Like we're like, yeah, it's a mountain. It's 1,020 feet.
I want to Google something real quick. Let's see. Okay, so I was looking it up. There is a place in Kansas that is only like 800 feet above sea level, and then Mount Sunflower, all out there in western Kansas, is 4,000 feet above sea level.
That's pretty good.
It kind of is a mountain if you think about it, from the lowest point to the highest point. I mean, that's easy.
That's true.
I will say that is in southeast Kansas, on the Oklahoma border, so there is like a legit 400-mile difference. But I didn't hear that definition where it was over a certain amount of space. So.
Now, one thing it was that it was supposed to be 1,000 feet higher than its relative surroundings.
Relative is relative, Nick.
It's true. But also, I just want to call this out. This is the Wikipedia page's first sentence about Mount Sunflower. It says, quote, Mount Sunflower, although not a true mountain.
Whoa! Hey, Mount Sunflower
of Kansas.
Wikipedia page.
It got two words in before it was like. Let me be clear. It's not a real mountain. It got 2 words. The 2 words.
Hey,
were the name
it found the fact that I did though. It's 3,000 feet above its topographic low point. Like it knows.
True.
By definition, it is a mountain, depending on how generous you are with the word relative.
Yeah.
Relative can mean anything, Nick.
It can mean a lot of things. It can mean a whole bunch of things.
I mean, if you compare it to the Marianas Trench, Mount Sunflower is one of the biggest mountains in the world.
100%, dude. Totally accurate and true. It's a great point.
Thank you. Also, I'm really offended by Mount Sunflower calling itself not a mountain in the first 5 words in its Wikipedia article. I feel like that's conceding a lot.
It's like, let's be clear here. Let's be real clear here, okay? It's not. Oh, that's really good.
One of our, I don't know if you have the same experience, but there's 5 photos that I can always remember from my childhood growing up. And our picture of me and my family when I was probably 8 or 9. So my sister had just gotten in the picture, and she's
pretty
3 or 4, probably Alice's age now. And we have a picture in front of the Mount Sunflower sign. And
nice.
So even though it's not necessarily a mountain, per its own Wikipedia.
Dude,
admissions.
You went mountain climbing to the peak of a 4,000 foot.
Nick, have you been to the top of the tallest peak in California?
No.
I did it in the Kansas when I was freaking 9.
All right,
dude.
well, you beat me. Wait, actually, I probably also did around 9. Honestly, I know it's not dumb, but I think I went to Mammoth when I was a kid, and I'm pretty sure Mammoth is the highest peak. Oh, that sounds wrong now that I'm saying it out loud.
Okay,
but who cares?
But have you been to the tallest point in Kansas? I mean,
no, I
don't think
not.
so. And as you can see from the pictures, there's not a lot of reason to. So I suppose that's fine. Nick, in your pictures that you sent me from the place that I can't remember the name of,
that was Montaña del Oro State Park is where I sent you those photos from.
Are these phone pictures? What are these taken? Oh wow, they're really good.
Thank you. Jen took the last 2, the good ones.
I had the last one up when I was saying that, so credit to Jen for doing that.
Jen knows how to take good photos. I know how to point a phone at a sky. You know what I'm saying?
And record yourself on bikes based on our prior conversations. Scrolling up, man, it is. I tell you what, dude. These are cooler views than what I have in Kansas. Not gonna lie.
I mean, they're more mountainous views, maybe
more mountainous
depending
views.
on whether or not you. Well, you got to consider Mount Sunflower's view is probably all of Kansas, right?
If you zoom in enough, I'm right there, just waving at the camera. Jeez.
Well, I just meant since the entirety of Kansas is
it's all downhill from there.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh. Okay, do you have? Okay.
All I was gonna say: Pismo Beach, Montaña de Oro State Park in south of Morro Bay. All beautiful, all amazing stuff. Big fan. Highly recommend. I had a great time. Beautiful views. It's not the most crazy technical riding out there, but I wouldn't. I don't really care because it's just a freaking good time. So yeah.
think that's one of those, and man, I really want to talk about our thing, so I don't want to get into this too much, but like there are, I mean, the United States, boy, do we have our weird things about us, but I do think one of the most amazing things about is the like geography, that like the amount of things that people don't even realize are in the US that are just so phenomenally amazing. Because like the thing is like if you go right now on Google and you type like what are the coolest places in the United States, you're gonna get like 50 cool ass places, and like those are cool places. And but like then there's
like
these
give me like the 100 most beautiful places in America, and like number 100 on some random list would still be like amazing, right?
Right, yeah, and you're just not gonna find these other like gems that are not the popular, you know, again, not in the top 50, but would like worldwide be like amazing. And honestly, the entire planet is just filled with beautiful things, and man, that could be an entire other thing. But like, man, there are just so many things. Like just looking at this is a place I didn't even know existed, and it is one of the most beautiful like set of pictures I've ever seen. And like it's just like a flippin' asterisk on the state of California.
I know what you mean.
It's pretty crazy. I love it.
I do too. And yeah.
All right, Nick, we both need to talk about this next thing. So we've talked about AI and machine learning and etc. on this podcast many a times. And recently, 2 episodes, in fact, on AI art, and then a little bit of like AI art / AI, like the word processing side of things. And the second episode of that like most recent discussion was because so many things had changed. And then ChatGPT released to the public, and it is on another level of interesting for like 100 reasons.
For like I mean, the first one is that like art is really cool, but it's not like the most practical application. Like for me, why would I need AI art? Like, I mean, I'm not against having an avatar or something on Discord, but like, that's the extent.
I have the world's
it's like
coolest
just cool.
avatar on Discord, but to what end?
Right. But regardless, your point is very valid. Continue.
So like to pick up where we left off, like literally 3 episodes ago, maybe, or 2 episodes. I was interested in the chat side of things because we are feeding all these algorithms like A/B tests to see, you know, what is popular, and now we're getting really good at generating the actual content itself. So we're feeding, you know, the content to the algorithm to A/B test, and then that is a weird, you know, feedback loop for sure. But like other things about that too. Again, this is all before ChatGPT released, and to the public. It's been in private beta stuff for a while. So if you're not familiar, before we dive into any specifics, I figured I could give a like quick overview of what ChatGPT is, if anyone's not familiar. Do you feel like it's a fair place to start, Nick?
You should. I totally think you should. So I actually have been very disconnected this last 2 weeks. So like the extent of what I know about it, I've purposefully not looked into or downloaded it or like gone on the website. I don't even know which one you're supposed to do, because I figured that I would spend too much time poking around on it, and you said that you wanted to talk about it. I was gonna go ham at it this week, and then you said you wanted to talk about it. I was like, your perspective on it will be better than mine.
Yeah.
So I have not dug in because I wanted to hear your perspective first. Yeah. I do know, like I've seen some viral images. I've watched a video about it a little bit, and like yada yada. So.
Well, thank you for the pleasure of letting me walk you through some of the things that I find interesting. So, because I do find it quite interesting.
It's wild.
So I just asked I let ChatGPT do some of the legwork for me for this episode. So I just asked it to explain itself. So
explain yourself.
So yeah, it's a generative pre-training transformer, which is a fancy way to say a language model developed by OpenAI. It's designed to generate human-like text in real time and hold conversations. And I will say, like, they do a really good job of like when you're asking it questions, it doesn't just like plop out text. Like it actually shows it like fake typing it. And I will say the effectiveness of that experience is quite high. Like it feels like you're talking to a person who is talking to you normally, which is a little disconcerting at first, to say the least.
A little bit. Sounds not normal.
But and then I specifically asked it, how should I describe that for a podcast? And it told me to talk about its capabilities and how it works. So I'm supposed to mention that it is able to understand and respond to natural language input, and that it uses machine learning to generate responses that are coherent and relevant to this conversation, or relevant to the conversation. It's better at speaking clearly than I am. The applications for it would look like, on the consumer side, customer service chatbots, automated language translation, and even creating content for social media or other platforms, which I highlighted in red. Mind the show notes here.
Well, thankfully for you and me, that's not a big thing that we worry about all the time, right? Like, that's not a thing that on this podcast we've talked about
at all, and I'm sure
won't be. I would say we've talked about it about social media and its scariness only like 50% of the episodes of this show, which is a pretty small amount.
Only 50 for now, although it feels like it's trending in a different
direction. May actually be going upward, yeah.
Overall, ChatGPT is a powerful tool for generating human-like text in real time, and it has the potential to revolutionize the way that we interact with computers and machines. Fair enough, ChatGPT. So, like I said, I highlighted
it's kind of a high estimation of itself, don't you think?
Or
do you think the ChatGPT's got a little bit of an ego?
Yeah,
do we agree? Do we all agree?
Yeah, I mean, definitely feels very confident in its answers, to say the least, as it well frickin' should. Okay, so I picked up on the or even creating content for social media or app platforms. So that led me to another follow-up question to ChatGPT, which was to ask it, like, what you mean about that? Like, so I just what are the negative impacts of something like that? And it answered the number one. So first, this is there are several potential negative impacts for the use of ChatGPT. Some of these include misinformation. ChatGPT is trained on a large data set of text and can generate responses that are coherent and relevant to the conversation. However, is not always able to accurately reflect truth or provide accurate information. This could lead to the spread of misinformation, particularly if ChatGPT is used to generate content for social media and other platforms. I'm like, well, thank you, number one. That's good enough.
Well, hold on. I just want to say, I really appreciate that ChatGPT has us nailed down pat. Like, it's kind of like... ChatGPT is a very good generative AI, which does a very good job of impersonating us, I would say. Like, personally, it does a good Nick impression. You don't even need me anymore. You can have ChatGPT take my place.
And I have your voice enough to the extent that I think we might.
Is there a voice AI that can compile all the words I've said on this thing and then just start?
I think we've even talked about this, Nick. But yes,
okay,
yes,
sorry.
No, you're good. You this could maybe another episode or two.
Goodbye, friends.
Smooth out some of the bugs, but after that, yeah, you're good to go.
Okay.
So I have kind of 3-ish different areas that I think that I can take this in. One, the interesting, fun side, that I just think is interesting and fun. Then the specific to my profession side, and then maybe 4. What I think about it with search, and then search/education, and then maybe there's 5, and then just general thoughts, interests, concerns, excitement.
Hit me with them. I'm here for them all.
I don't even know where I want to go with it, Nick. What, from your perspective, what do you find? I'll let you give a response, and I'll take us the direction that makes most sense. So, ChatGPT is a very good AI at taking anything you say and bringing a response that is pretty much, not pretty much, the best that I've seen by 100-fold, in the same sense that playing Age of Empires on the PC back in 1990 something was an improvement over freaking text-based adventure games. To me, this feels, which I will say, Nick, I'm a sucker for a text-based adventure because we did one on our Patreon episode. I asked ChatGPT to code me an endless text adventure in Python, and it did.
That's scary.
So we'll get into that.
Jeff, that's scary.
And it worked. It did. Then Nick, it worked. Not only did it work, it worked on the first time. Now, was it very good? No, it was not very good. But I could do stuff. And
did you ask it to make you a better one? You should just say, make me a better one. Dumb AI.
And I think you can. But well, you can tell it what you don't like and don't like. But again, we won't get into that. But so okay, lots of stuff. It's obviously quite capable, more so than anything that we've been exposed to publicly to this point by a considerable margin. And we've talked about AI and things. So yeah, so like, what are your thoughts and questions, and we'll go from there.
This is can you iterate? Like, I know I've seen things where like a person asks successive questions for new content on top of what it was already on. So like I understand that it retains kind of like the topic or the thread that it's on when you're giving it prompts. Can you iterate on a previous example? Can you say, hey, I don't like how that was written. Can you try that again with this feedback? Or
yep,
you can.
Like
okay.
I'm just gonna hard stop. Yep, you can. Like
okay.
Now, depending on what sort of thing you're trying to iterate on, will it do a good job or not? Like that right. is, but like, again, I'm just kind of skipping ahead. I'm going to keep probably slipping into this. I asked it to, oh man, I'm just going to go right into this. So, oh man, I think I'm going to full dive into one of the main points I want to make. Please. So I find if I would have had this when I would have initially started my grad school stuff, and I was going through some classes that were like building algorithms in Python.
Well, you don't cheat on anything, right? Like you would never cheat in any kind of capacity, right? Jeff?
Shut up,
Jeff Pager? Jeff Chesser. Nicholas. Sorry.
But okay, you jerk. No, what I was going to say is I genuinely don't think now, and I will say in my professional life, it's a very common thing for computer science professions to joke about how you just Google anything that you ever need, and that's like,
yes,
you actually, your whole job is
professional Googler. Things.
Yeah, you're a professional Googler. I don't think in my school experience, anyways, I would have ever needed now. And again, in my school experience, I had to Google so much to learn how to do all the things because that's how I learn. I'm a self-taught type of person. So I don't like learn from reading a book. I have an objective that I need to figure out, and I will just Google the specific thing that I need to figure out how to do the thing. And I learned that way much more than like reading a formal textbook on the general concepts and then applying them to a problem. Like I am an outcome based learner for sure. I'm not sure that I would have needed Google at all if ChatGPT existed when I was going through this. And here's a good example. So one of the problems that gets brought up really early-ish on in any sort of programming class, especially with Python stuff, I'm not sure about other languages just because it's not relevant to things that I've had to learn, but it is stuff like given a string, return if it's a palindrome or not, or given a string, return all of the palindromes.
Right.
And it's an interesting concept because you have to iterate through a string and find all the things. Anyways, it just wrote an answer to that problem. And I'm just going to pop this into chat real quick. This is actually not the best answer that it gave me. Because again, you can just say like, try again if you don't like it.
Right.
Un momento.
And you can just say, try again, you did this wrong, right?
Yeah. Like for sure. Or actually, so it did a great job on the palindrome thing. Another one that I remembered from my initial Python 101 classes was to write a function that returned the Fibonacci sequence up to a particular number. And not only does it write a script that literally does work. Again, first try, no fixing of anything at all. It also does an excellent job of explaining what it's doing in the code. Like,
yeah, it does.
To an extent that I feel like it, I mean, I love me some Stack Overflow and getting the answers from there. But like, if you're just wanting a specific answer to how to do a particular thing and you want to actually understand why it's working, it is like, it does a very good job. And yeah, you can change that. Like basically what this is a function in Python that will return an n number of numbers in the Fibonacci sequence, and you can make that be 10 or 15 or whatever. And I've checked it works fine. It's well commented, it explains exactly what each step is. in a like very like I think it would be silly to have this sort of thing this commented out for an actual work application, but like from a school perspective, like this is
like this is like what my like I joked about the first year like this is what my first year comp sci professors would have wanted me, especially like when you're at this level that like someone's asking you to do this. Like absolutely, this is exactly it, right?
Like this is the answer to the problem.
That's what I was the whole time you've been talking. I've just been looking at it like, is there a reason that like I wouldn't submit this as like if I was back in that course?
And not only that, like Nick, this is I think how I would do it. Like legitimately, like I think, or at least to some degree, I think this is what I would do. Like, because the Fibonacci part where they're doing the math of like setting the prior. Well, I don't know. They actually are doing something kind of weird here. B equals B.
Yeah, I would.
It works.
The only thing I wouldn't do, and this is me maybe not being as familiar with Python as I wouldn't. The line that says A B equals B plus B A plus B. I would write that. I know that you probably could do it as one line, but I would just do it as 2 lines and do it. Yeah.
But nonetheless, it flipping works, so whatever. But like it's gonna do some weird. It's gonna find some weird answers to the problem, but it 100% works. And there's other examples of this. But yeah, I can't. I kind of lost the plot on where I was initially going with this.
It spit out very passable, very usable code. Albeit like simple-ish problem, but like not like one that someone wouldn't encounter, right? Like
and not, I can't understate this enough. Like this is because you can ask it to be more specific about things. The fact that I can copy this code and paste it into an IDE and it runs with no issue is
shocking.
Is pretty shocking, because this isn't like this was written by a person, tested and ran. Like it is generative, and so there are times, especially with other, like the more specific you get, the more likely you are to get a typo or something that you need to correct. But like from a school perspective of like questions that you get asked in education, I haven't found like a really good example of anything I didn't think it could do.
Totally.
And that has all kinds of weird implications. I don't even know how I feel about it.
Well, I mean, one thing I read was an article. Did you send me this? That kind of mentioned that there are that you could very easily use this to just write essays for you if you're in school.
Yeah, no, I was that person. So my professor was like, "Hey, this came out like 2 days ago at the time of the lecture, and I know that you have an AI ethics paper due in like a week and a half.
Really ironic to
yeah. I get that it would be funny to type this into this thing. Do not do that, please." But here's the thing, Nick. I did do it because, of course, I did, like, just to see how it did, and it did excellent. And you know what, Nick? We have like I'm going through a particular school, and they have like a thing where you can submit your paper to see if it is plagiarized. Mm-hmm. It wrote a 900-word essay over AI ethics, and Nick, it was not plagiarized. And it very well may be better than what I actually submitted. Like it is.
Wait, really?
It was really good. I mean, it's
that's what I wanted to know. Is like
pretty
is it
generic
actually quality? I mean, okay.
I think if it was like a freshman course or a high school course, I think if I were to submit that would be top of the class style writing.
Wow. Okay.
Like it's not super nuanced and not super specific, but it hits word count.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It is unique, and at least for now, I'm not convinced that the output from these won't eventually show up on the plagiarism bot things, because I question how creative, like how different it will be. Like if it has a good answer to the problem, it's going to give that answer in some form similarly.
Right.
Because like even in playing with it, like it'll come up with different essays, but they're all kind of the same thing. Like within a stone's throw of one another.
Craziness.
But at least at the time, it passed our plagiarism detector thing. So take that for what it is. But yeah, it's crazy.
So, okay, I guess that like kind of leads me to another thing. There's a lot of talk about artists having their work being used to feed these algorithms, and art being produced in essentially identical styles of AI producing art in essentially identical styles to an artist without crediting the artist and the artist not being credited and paid when they are when their stuff is being fed into the algorithm. Is that like a thing that you think is something we should be considering for text-based generative AI as well? Or like, because it's good that it's not plagiarized, but the question to me is like, well, we are feeding it massive amounts of information online. A lot of it's probably perfectly legal for it to feed it, obviously. However, like, that's still a lot of people that like are, I don't know. I'm like, it's a weird world, right? And I haven't given it serious consideration, and I don't know if that issue kind of like follows over to, to text the same way.
I'm going to read to you, Nick, a few lyrics that I had ChatGPT do for you, talking about downhill biking in the style of Eminem.
Okay, I do appreciate that, and can you ask it if it is ethical that it made this piece of lyric for me after you're done?
It doesn't like to comment on that.
Okay.
I'm gonna skip through some of this, so I apologize if I don't deliver excellently. It does a great job, though, in my opinion. So this is talking about downhill biking in the style of Eminem from ChatGPT.
Totally normal thing to ask. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a downhill biker flying down the slope with the speed and agility. I can't be overthrown. I weave and dodge, avoiding obstacles in my path. I'm in control, no fear. I'm ready for the aftermath.
Oh my God.
This is going to be really hard to get through because I
regret all of technology. Right in this moment,
I push my limits, testing my skills. I ride through the rough, no time to chill. I feel the rush, wind at my face. I'm in the zone. I'm in my place. I'm like a bird soaring through the sky. I'm one with my bike. We're a perfect pair. We never lie. I conquer the mountain. I never back down. I'm a downhill biker with the highest crown.
All right, so we have to. I'm sorry. It is time to return to a pre-technological era. I regret everything. This is all a mistake.
Nick, is that not beautiful? I had it written for you in 0.1 seconds of work. I think it's beautiful.
Does it sound like Eminem? I need to hear Eminem rap it is a problem. You know what I mean? But like,
I don't care or no. It's amazing. All right, can I read you the? So I did downhill biking for you. I did databases for me. Can I read you the database one?
Yeah, hit me with the database raps. Dude. You know about those database raps? I'm a big fan of database raps. Those are my favorite, personally.
Okay, here we go. I'm like a database storing all your info from emails to phone numbers. I keep it in the win column. I'm organized and efficient, but never out of sync with all your data safe and sound. No need to think. I can search and retrieve in a flash. You'll see the data that you need. No time wasted. It's all guaranteed. I can sort and filter, customize, and view so that you can find what you need. It's so easy to do. I'm like a library, but better than a shelf. I store all your data digitally. No need for any help. I'm a digital assistant at your command. I'll find what you need just at the click of your hand. Oh man, this is so good. This is so good.
Yeah, good. That's the one. Oh my gosh, Jeff! I don't know what to say about any of this.
I don't know. Me and ChatGPT had some fun.
Yeah. Fun. That's freaking crazy, man. I don't know what to say except that's crazy.
Like, I get that it's a little bit nonsensical. Like, yeah. It is. But also, if you wanted to write like a parody rap about databases, I'm not sure that given an entire day that I would have done much better. Like, legitimately. Yeah. Like, that is... And, like, that's not... I mean, I don't know, maybe other people have typed that exact thing in before, but I can't imagine that people are asking freaking ChatGPT to rap about databases often.
I'm just saying, in a year, we're all going to be, like, checking different prompts to see if ChatGPT generated, like, the next Taylor Swift hit. You know what I mean? Like...
But how would you know?
Give me a relatable pop song from the girl next door type who is talking about how uncool and unfair the world is.
Hold on, Nick. Can you
no,
try to read?
No,
I want to do it live.
We're not doing it. We're not doing it.
What did you do?
Oh,
say it again. Say it again.
I don't remember.
Do it again. Or just make a new one. Make a new one.
Relatable pop song from the girl next door type about how the world is unfair to normal girls or something like that. Which, to be fair,
relatable
this is not
pop
fair.
Song about the girl next door that
that is not fair to normal. That is not fair to normal. I don't know. Not fair to. All I think of when I think of Taylor Swift is the
which is not
She wears
representative of
short
the
skirts.
average experience.
Right. She wears high heels. I wear sneakers. You know that? Like, that's what I mean. Is like I'm just picturing that ChatGPT generated those lyrics.
Oh wait, it found a song. Hold on, I want to tell it to make a new song.
You could just say in Taylor Swift style or something too.
Right.
But maybe she's grown.
Song.
Maybe this is like, maybe my thing's gonna be way off base.
Write a relatable pop song about the girl next door that is not representative of the normal experience in the style of Taylor Swift.
I just want you to know I have alienated all of our listeners by like both slightly bad mouthing Taylor Swift and not knowing enough about her while I'm doing it. Like, I've just alienated all of our listeners. Just so you know.
I'm just gonna read the first verse. It's still
yeah. Just give you can't give me a whole song. I can't do it.
She's always there, right outside my window, but we're not.
Love it. I love it, but it's not it's a guy's perspective, right? Or like it's someone pining after a girl. So I mean, you know, but I do love it. That is very good. That could totally be a radio hit right there. Like, or that could be the first verse.
Oh
of a radio
my gosh, Nick! I just want to read the next.
Hit me.
I want to read the chorus because it has one line that is not appropriate.
Oh, good. That's what we like to hear.
I don't think it knows.
You didn't realize to make it a radio hit, Jeff.
Oh, the girl next door, she's got me wanting more, but she's out of reach just a little too far. I wish I could go hold her, be the one to conquer. That is not appropriate. You can't talk.
Yo, ChatGPT. Excuse me.
Excuse me.
We don't conquer women. That's not
right. That's not right.
That's absolutely not right.
Oh, man. I love you, ChatGPT. We have good times. One thing...
Okay.
One thing to bring it back here. It's very, very good at finding syntax errors. Actually, well, yeah, I'll show you.
Hit me.
Let me take a screenshot and send it the way I sent you last time. Like, I just was curious, like, how good it is at parsing, like, obvious script syntax problems to see how good it... Because, like, I've heard that it's pretty good at that. And I have played with it more than this. But this is, like, just a fake SQL query that I wrote, like, and I asked it to find the problem. And, of course, it found it right away. The thing about it, though, is, like, this is an obvious and also fake thing. It's really, really good from other examples I've seen at, like, finding, instead of, like, because, like, when you write code and you get an error, oftentimes you'll get, like, a hint at what the problem is, but there's not, like, some teacher standing over your shoulder telling you, like, here's what you did wrong. And this is, like, in my opinion, a 100 times better version of errors than, like, what you would typically get from any programming language. Like, it actually will explicitly explain why the thing that you're doing is wrong, as opposed to saying, like, expected parenthesis at end of statement, which is, like, a common, like, you know, random thing. And it's like, well, okay, like, where did I screw this up? And then, like, this thing does a very good job of saying, like, hey, you have this many open parentheses and you are missing a closed parenthesis after this, so it could go in any one of these independent clauses or whatever. And like, okay, well, that's super helpful. Nick, I'm telling you, if this has a really weird implication for both, like, actual day-to-day work stuff. Because I did play around with this when I was doing my final project, and instead of Googling things for writing some of my machine learning stuff in R, I typed it into ChatGPT. I found, in my opinion, better answers using ChatGPT than I could, like, trying to click through the Stack Overflow articles on Google, which is a very...
That's a really high bar. That sounds like a high bar, but that's a pretty high bar.
And I guess, which is one of my other things, is, like, I think there's a world in which this could replace or at least change our experience with searching for things, because... And I don't know if this is always going to be for the best, but the nice thing about ChatGPT is it doesn't give you a whole page of things that you just ultimately click on the first one or two items of. It does its best job to give you the answer, like the answer, not like you don't have to try to figure it out. And whether it's right or wrong, like, it is telling you the answer. And that is not how Google works. Like, I mean, there's, you know, the common joke that, like, the second page of Google may as well not exist, but, like, certainly the first, like, 4 articles or for the first 4 results should, you know, they exist, but it takes that to a whole nother level and also customizes the results to be specific to whatever it is that you're asking. So, like, from using a coding example, a lot of times on Stack Overflow, you can find somebody who has done like a proxy of what you've done.
Yes.
But to specifically ask like, hey, why is my code not working? And to be able to get an answer to that is kind of groundbreaking in a way that I if that truly is as effective as it appears to be, I don't know why anybody's going to Google things for like work or school in the tech space ever again. Like,
yeah.
If you can get specific answers to your specific problem or specific input through the lens of your specific problem, like why would you try to reverse engineer some generic Stack Overflow thing to be helpful for your thing that you're trying to deal with?
No, there's no good reason. Is why there's like literally no good reason. I don't know. That's kind of incredible to say it like that, you know.
So I've rambled a lot. I've even given you some raps.
Yeah.
Do you have any like
what do you think about the? You kind of dodged the question. You question dodger. Freaking. What do you think about the ethics of like using generative AI this way for tech stuff relative to like we've talked a little bit about the idea of like art being having like a plagiarism issue or whatever to it, but
I mean I think so. I've spent, I don't know, probably 50 hours in the last week and a half finishing this current class that I'm in.
Okay.
And a lot of it is around AI ethics. Like I had to write a whole paper about it, and having done a lot of...
You're saying you've given it no thought.
I have given it a lot of thought. And in fact,
tell me what ChatGPT thinks about it then, at least.
That's a good question. I should see what it thinks. I think the problem is that there's not an easy answer to that question. Like, right. There's pros and cons on both sides, and I don't think it really matters what the pros and cons are because it's going to happen regardless. Is kind of my takeaway. Like, I don't. The obvious pros are we have an AI that can do a lot of cool things that we could never do before at a speed that we could never do before. The con is it can only do that because of the creative works of the people that it has learned from, at no credit to them or no profit to them. And the inevitable part of it is this is free on the internet as of a couple weeks ago and is significantly better than anything we've ever seen. And I don't anticipate it going any slower than what we've had. Literally every single time that we hit the stop record button, like some new AI thing pops up recently. So I feel like this is we're on the tracks regardless, and I don't know. I think the consequences are going to be born whether we know exactly what they are or not. I don't know if that's maybe a pessimistic view or not, but
I would say just kind of a realistic one. Personally, I don't know. I mean, there's obviously lots of ways that this could benefit people, that this could benefit people's learning, that this could make us a bit more efficient in terms of like things like software development, in terms of writing, in terms of writing like small amounts. I watched a video from MKBHD that I'm sure a million people have watched it, and he was saying how he's going to use it to kind of give him like script prompts or like, the maybe like an outline of a script that if he, and, tweak his work from there. And like, that makes a lot of sense to me. I'm sure there's lots of people who will like incorporate this into their work without just outright using it to replace themselves. But dude, it's a weird world we're entering. Like if the idea of like, I mean, all technological innovation comes with people afraid that, this innovation will put people out of work, that this, what are we going to do if we have this big surge of automation or whatever? I mean, automation has been a concern since the 1800s. I had a really fun, jarring experience reading a serious text from like 1860 a while ago, talking about how, pretty soon we're going to have machines doing all the work for us, and only like 30% of the population will be working. And I was like, well, I don't know, might have missed the mark on that one, bud. But or something, I don't know the exact number, but you know what I'm getting at. And like we always have that fear, but I mean this kind of thing is pretty revolutionary. You could write like generic copy, right? Like you could write generic like just like generic code, so you may not be able to like replace a full developer, but you could probably lower a lot of different developers' roles by having them not have to write small amounts of stuff that's probably pretty menial, and they probably have to review it anyway. So maybe there's not that much. I don't know, but this is kind of crazy to me, and I don't really know. And the fact that kind of stuff could happen while also not crediting the people that kind of get it there, because like the entire internet is probably where it's scraping this data from. And,
oh,
like,
for sure.
How do you put, and I don't know how you possibly would credit these people, or, you know, like, it's not like you're going to give everybody in the world 1 penny and it's going to fix a problem, right? Like, I don't know.
So yeah, it's hard. You're like 100% right. And I think the crediting people problem, I mean, that's been a problem since, like, I don't know, music got pirated constantly. Like that,
right.
Like getting people that made the thing that ultimately need to benefit from it, from the people that are enjoying it, is a weird thing that the internet has caused. And I think that it's just going to get harder to be the case.
Fair.
But what, both of us are currently doing school stuff. Mm-hmm. And I really have a hard time of seeing what, like, because my school experience, like, this would have completely trivialized so much. And in talking through this, like, how do you feel?
God.
How does school work now? Like, when you can just have an AI write essays for you, and it's only going to get better, mind you. Like, my son, by the time he gets to college, we're talking another, you know, flipping 12 years. That's the time of from now back until, you know, the iPhone 4 released. So like a lot of things have changed. But this is going to get better and going to get better quicker. So how do we school when there is an AI that can just give the answers to things? And how valid of a problem? Because like there's like kind of a, and I'll let you. I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
Oh, you're fine.
But like, there's part of me that wonders: am I the person who was like? Am I making the same argument of people that like were like, oh well, if we have calculators that can just give the answers, then why is anybody going to need to learn math? Sort of
right.
thing.
Or for that matter, what's the point of studying if you can just Google it, right? Like if you can just search it. Like I heard some of that when I was you know, like in high school even, like that, you know, you kids can just use the internet for everything and you're basically cheating. I'm like, well, dude, like I don't know, don't you want me to just read anyways?
But it does exist in real life too. Yeah.
Right, like what is the difference between my thought was like, what's the difference between me finding out through Google rather than reading this textbook with the assigned chapters? Like, what's the big difference? Like, why would I care about the difference? And I think there's an element of that, right? Like if you're a student and you have to write a paper and like you can just have it spit out what the answer is. The problem is that when I did it, I obviously couldn't just copy and paste the freaking Google results and ignore the learning aspect of it, or I could, but I'd probably get get caught plagiarizing the internet. But the other thing is like there is probably an element of truth to that like, you know, kids could just use this as a learning tool. I have a hard time answering this question. Do you have thoughts on it? How you school in this world?
I just asked the AI to give an answer.
Yeah,
so just read this, and it's really good. It's better than anything I would have said.
Yeah, hit me.
So it acknowledges the challenges that has, but we could develop software that helps with personalized learning. So like having a conversational AI that can learn how individual students are progressing through content.
And don't worry, ChatGPT can create this generative AI for us. This sort of personalized AI.
But yeah, I mean, it helps students learn more effectively and at their own pace, which is a freaking true statement. Like this actually kind of exists today. So are you familiar with how kids learn to read today?
No.
I'm not sure if this is true everywhere, but in my son's school district, there's an app called Libya, and it's like a gamification way of learning how to read. Okay. And like there's different levels, and you learn like first you like start learning sight words and basic like sounds of letters and stuff, and it just takes you all the way through until you start to like learn more complex like, you know, sentence structures and etc. And like it's all like progression based and like learns based on how you did on like the activities. And Nick, I'll be darned, like my kid is starting to learn how to read, and I don't even, it's mind boggling. And I know that
and your son's 5.
Every right, well 6, but yeah, like 6, he is doing a really good job, and I don't even like. I know every parent has gone through this because all of us that can read, we figured it out, and at the beginning of that we did not know, and then afterwards we did know. But it's a very interesting thing. But yeah, that's already in place, so I can only imagine like as this technology improves, so like that'll be even better. Automated grading, AI will be able to help grade assignments more in real time, and especially enable teachers to focus more on important tasks because they'll be able to have their stuff auto graded. Makes sense. One-on-one tutoring, again, I feel like that's personalized learning. And I think this is a really good point too. Accessibility. So, I mean, which is a very freaking true thing. I mean, education across the globe is not equitable. And so having that be accessible for free or near free is obviously beneficial. So good job, ChatGPT. You helped me feel a little bit better about things. I do think that maybe 600-word essays are a thing of the past, because how could you, I mean, as this gets better, like how could you ever know that it was not just somebody typing that in? But
good luck.
I guess if it's all proctored and like you had to do it like off grid, like type it all yourself. But that feels to me like, I don't know. I don't think that's going to be how the world works. That feels like forcing people to be disconnected to the extent that like they can't use any of these tools in a lot of education settings is just not going to be how it works. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Especially from a writing standpoint. Like, obviously, like during a test taking, like where there's binary answers, like this is yes or no correct. Like that can all still exist. But if you have to give people time to think and write and etc., I mean, there's going to be so many options just to have that done for you. Yeah,
there are. And it's going to be very, very difficult to track down whether or not kids are doing it, right? Like, I mean,
increasingly so, yeah.
That's what I was going to say is like, even right now, if you could find a way to reverse engineer, like, oh, this is the kind of thing that would come out of ChatGPT as soon as we have multiple of these and we have, like we say, okay, well, can you iterate on this and change this thing to make it sound more like this? Like, or if you could say, here's my writing from last year, can you make it sound like this, including the errors I might make? That's the kind of scary thing. Oh, not scary thing, but that's the kind of thing that would probably start to get astronomically harder and harder to tell if it was generated, right?
Well, and not to spoil some things, but you can kind of do that exact thing already.
Of course. With
ChatGPT specifically, you can give it a thing and tell it to just like make this better or change, like do whatever with it, and like it's fine. It can handle that. So that's fine.
That's another problem for it. Cool. Good.
All right. Well, we've talked the requisite amount of time about our AI overlords. So we should probably wrap this one up, sir. If you would like, you can check out our Patreon only podcast. It's like this, except for talking about football, basketball, and other random things. You can check that out at patreon.com/TiWasApp.
You can also follow us on Twitter at TiWasApp on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. And you can find all of that at TiWasApp.com.
Yeah, especially Twitter these days, man. So many good things on the Twitter.
Twitter's going great.
Yeah. Anywho, Nicholas, thank you so much for podding with me in 2022. I think this is the last one.
So next time we have to determine whether we're going to be kicking back or we're going to have some secret of the ooze or like what's going to happen.
Oozing and kicking, etc. We do need to figure that out. That'll be next time.
We do. Okay. You're welcome for podding with you. This has been the year we started the podcast. Thank you all for listening.